Oh, hi there. I'm playing a really great video game, but I'm not going to review it today. Not at all. In fact, I'm going to review this. I hope my cameraman has this squared up. Just kidding. That's Batman. Everyone knows that rocks. That's just a fact. Rocks. Kicks ass. All of them. Good job, Nolan, or whatever. What I'm going to be doing is reviewing something called Jack Cooper, Pilot Jack Cooper by Titanfall 2. The worst game in the world. No, I'm just kidding. Worst game in the world. Must I? I don't know. We'll say that E.T. game for Atari. Alright, it's going to star this guy. As you can see, he's a Pratt. Okay? Just so you know. I'm Scottish. Tell you a little bit about him. Actually, not him, but the toy. Earlier this year, McFarlane Toys had a convention, right? And at the convention, they promised that they were coming out with a new line of toys. They're called Color Tops. And unlike all their previous toys, they said that they were going to be able to move a lot more, be more jointed, because people call their toys mixed stiffs, which makes sense, I guess. Whatever, nerds make up stupid words. But McFarlane assured us that this would be different, and, well, let's find out. Let's find out. But first, I'm going to tell you who this is. It's Jack Cooper. He was a guy who, it's in the future, he lived on a farm with his family on Earth, but it was too, dangerous, so they moved away. His family got killed. Star Wars. And then he moves off and he goes and joins the military or whatever. See, there's a military, and then there's these bad guys called the IMC. And you are part of the military. Now, what he does is, on the first mission with this pilot that takes you in, is he dies. And then he gives you the ability, see, the pilots aren't just pilots, they actually are attached to the machines that they're in. They're called Titans, right? Alright, that's also stolen from a movie that recently came out. I forget what it was called. What?
Mad Max.
No. A recent movie actually came out where two people had to control a robot, giant robots. I forget what it was called. It was okay. Alright, so anyways, he becomes the pilot of this new thing after the death of blah blah blah. Oh, except the council, there's a council, of course, that didn't really want him. They didn't think he was qualified. Star Wars. But, of course, he defies them and he goes for it. And here, in the beginning of the game, is his, I'm actually going to read this word for word, it's short, it's his stupid monologue about pilots. Of all the things I've seen on the battlefield to the frontier, the pilot is the true dominant force, fast and agile, graceful yet devastating, perceptive, resourceful, and relentless. A pilot sees the world differently. Sheer walls become flanking routes. Pilots fly differently. Experienced in deception and maneuver, even overwhelming odds shift in their favor. But what truly separates the pilot from all the grunts and machines on the battlefield is the bond between the pilot and the Titan. When linked to a Titan, a pilot can only be stopped by overwhelming force or an equal. Now, let me just tell you something. Pilots are much safer than the grunts on the ground, with a 90% survival rate, death by death, okay? And B, the reason he became a pilot and controlled the Titan is because his pre-pilot died on their first flight together. So yeah, they're great. They're very agile geniuses, aren't they? Anyways. Oh yeah, and they're flying high above the battles. But they do have benefits. While playing, I noticed that the only people who actually are able to hit the enemies are the pilots flying over you. The grunts, they can't do anything. I don't know. They shoot like stormtroopers. I'd like to say that Jack Cooper was one of the most bland protagonists in video games I've ever played. He showed such a mind-numbing, empty disposition beginning to end that I felt like I was watching a horrid combination of Arnold Schwarzenegger and Kristen Stewart. Just bland nothingness. And you wouldn't, like, you'd expect that because it's a shooter, but it's like they have stories. Things have stories. Much better games have stories. Crisis 3. Boom. Great storyline. Everything's amazing about this game. You should get it. It's a 360 game, but it's backwards compatible, so shut your face. I already told you where it takes place. I told you about Jack Cooper. He was a rifleman. I told you how on the first mission his friend died who took him under his wing, of course. So it gives you that whole, like, heroic revenge thing going on that's in everything. But I found that the game was in such a hurry to get started that it doesn't even stop to set up the stakes of the story. We're supposedly fighting to save a planet, but we don't know the name or a face of a single person who lives there. No joke. We never visit it. The closest we get in a moment... I'm sorry, the cameraman spoke. The closest we get is a shot of empty field during VR training. Is that moment really supposed to sustain our entire attachment and represent everything we're fighting for? Like it's an action movie where the hero spends the whole time trying to rescue a girlfriend he never talks about and never appears on screen? That's what it felt like. And finally, I'll get to the toy. The short toy. This is, look at this. It's got nothing on it. Even like the legends, like they have Build-A-Figures that are everything now. And at least they have a backstory. This is just an advertisement for more of their toys. It's ridiculous. This is the most boring box I've ever seen. So boring, I'm going to tear it open. That's right. See all these? I'm going to tear these open. Nothing is torn open. But let's have a look at this piece of crap. Now, the toy is the best part of the entire game, but it's still... They lied, as you can tell by the stand. They shouldn't have a stand if they said they were going to make characters that you can put in any position. So, boom, you lied. You shouldn't put a stand in at least. Idiots. He's got the CAR machine gun up here. Alright, he's got an auto... He has an auto pistol. Just keep him in the shot. He's got an auto pistol. He's got a knife that fits into his holster on the left. Otherwise, the knife stows away on his chest. The pistol, due to an unsightly peg attached to the handle, falls off constantly. So you can glue it on if you want, but I don't know if that's what you want to do. And it's something I plan on correcting in time, trying to get the pieces to stay on, but because it's open now anyways. But yeah, this is the toy. It's by far one of the worst I've ever seen, followed by one of the worst sequels I've ever played. And thanks for watching. I love you.